Hi guys, it's Erin from Ginger's Florals. Today is a super exciting day. We are going to force some bulbs early in the greenhouse. I'm always so excited when the bulbs start showing up at Costco and garden centers all over the place. Early spring, well, late winter still. And I get to force them inside. It gives me a chance to get my hands really in the dirt, not just seed starting. And it doesn't take very long to actually show some growth, and that green, it's so good for my soul this time of year. So I want to show you guys all the different supplies that I have. First off, we're going to be growing Acidanthera. These flowers are just so pretty. They're in the gladiola family, and I have some out in the gardens, but I like to grow these separately also. But they have long spires like a gladiola and these beautiful, soft, delicate flowers. They're another one of those plants that just adds that little bit of sparkle and whimsy to an arrangement. And I really enjoy growing them. And then I've got two different kinds of lilies that I'm gonna grow. Well, they're both in the oriental lily, so the scented kind. This one is called Bacardi Marlin. It's so pretty. I have a bunch of stargazer out in the garden already, so these are just separate, or just another kind. And then this one is the Casablanca. This one is always a gorgeous, gorgeous addition. So I have all the bulbs that I'm gonna do. And this is actually these 3 containers. They were $14 a piece, which is more than you would buy it if you were buying wholesale, but everybody can do this project. But these will fill up 4 whole crates for me and there's how many? 132 bulbs altogether. It's gonna be fun. Okay, so the rest of the supplies I have bulb crates. There's 2 different kinds that I have. This is a deep one, and this deep one I will grow my lilies in because they need room to grow, put roots out up the stem. So I'll grow the lilies in the deep crates. And then I have a couple other crates that are shorter than this. They're probably this high, a few inches shorter. That's what I'm gonna grow the Acidanthera in because they don't need quite as much. They don't need to grow up through as much soil. And then I've also got craft paper. I always have a lot of this. This is just to line the bottom of the crates to make sure that the soil doesn't fall out of them. And a whole bunch of soil. This is a Pacific Northwest blend, but it's raised bed garden soil. It's chunkier and thicker, obviously, than a seed starting, but I wanted it to be light enough for everything to still grow and get all the airflow that it needs in these crates, because I'm going to be planting all these bulbs pretty close together. So the reasons that I grow all these bulbs starting in winter is, one, like I said earlier, it just feeds my soul. The second reason is so that I can get blooms early. Most lilies, depending on the varieties that you get, they can bloom in between 70 and 110, 120 days. These are the oriental lilies. They're on that longer side, so they'll be somewhere between the 90 and 110 days, I believe, which means starting them now in the beginning of February, the end of January, beginning of February, I should have blooms in March, April, May, right around Mother's Day. That's my goal, which is surprisingly that's when our drop off in blooms actually starts to happen, between the early bloomers, the tulips and all that, and then the summer blooms. We have a little bit of a dip, and these will help at least somewhat to bridge that gap a little bit. We also have lots of other bulbs. I've done videos about these before, but we have lots of other stuff that will help to bridge that gap. This is just something that I really enjoy doing every year. And if you're growing in in a larger capacity, you can do this. You can order bulbs from the wholesalers and you can get them at all those different bloom times, and you could plant a whole mess of bulbs all at once in the different varieties or the different bloom lengths, and plant them all at once, and you'll get some in 70 days, 80 days, 90 days, etc. So you'll have a long span of blooms with only having to do, 1 day's worth of planting. So you can do that. I also want to emphasize that you can do this even if you're not a flower farmer, even if you don't have crates. These crates I get when I order my tulips and daffodils and lilies, when I order those, and I get them in wholesale quantities. They'll ship them in these because it just protects the bulbs and whatnot. So that's where I get mine. But I've done this using, old crates or baskets that I've gotten from, I've had from the past. You can do this in pots. You can do this a whole bunch of ways. As long as you have a warm place to start them, it'll get them going and you can have blooms early. There's also an option if you want to just save space in your garden and you want to have these cut flowers. You can grow them in the crates. You can fill it and do everything I'm going to do here in a little bit. And you can just set them outside somewhere where they'll get the sunshine they need and water and not have to actually put them into your garden beds. So there's lots of different options here. And I'll walk you through the difference of growing something like a lily versus like a gladiola or an acidanthera. It's a similar process. There's just a couple tweaks that are different. A lot of people do this for tulips, actually. If you buy your tulips pre-chilled, you can do this, plant them like this, and if you have like a cooler or you keep them in a cool fridge, you can plant them by the crates once a week or every few days or however you want to do it until you've gone through all of them, and that will also give you a succession of blooms. It's so much fun. The things that keep you going in the winter are things like this, being able to get my hands in the dirt and get after it. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is line this crate. So this has no purpose other than to keep the soil from falling out. So I'm going to do that first. I'm going to use a couple of sheets. If you have newspaper, use newspaper. I use craft paper to wrap my bouquets, so I always have a lot of it around. Okay, now this is the 8-inch crate, or the deep crate that I have. So I'm going to take my soil and just pour it in the bottom. I'm going to fill, maybe a quarter of this crate with soil. It needs more to grow up through than it does in the bottom of it. It needs more to grow through than it does to sit on top of. Okay, that's probably good. Now I'm going to use, I just have some regular organic fertilizer, so I'm just going to put a little bit of that in the bottom. Nothing special. Mix it in a little bit. And then grab the bulbs and start planting. You can see the lily. So for this crate, these are the oriental lilies, and I can only fit about 20 in here and still have a good bloom. So I'm just going to put one bag of each. There's 16 in each of these bags, so each of these crates will have a different lily. So this is what it looks like. This is the bottom, you see the little root, and this is the top. So I just take this and nestle it in there all the way down. Oops. Okay, can you see that? They're all just gridded up in there. And then I'm just gonna top it off. And I'm gonna fill the crate all the way up. Because like I said, when lilies bloom, they put out roots all the way up their stems. So they need a lot more soil on top of them. So make sure you don't skip this part or give a small amount, because they won't give you as good of a show as they could. And that's it. Now I'm going to set up and show you the difference in doing this with for a gladiola type bulb, the Acidanthera. And then we'll go from there. Okay, so the gladiola type, the Acidanthera, this is gonna be just basically the same, but this crate is a couple inches shorter. And I'm only gonna put paper down this way. That should be good. And these, I'll show you these corners. I should be able to fit about 50 in this crate. They're much, much smaller. You see how little these guys are? Now, first off, I'm gonna fill this crate about halfway with soil. These guys need more root growth down below the bulb than the lilies did. Halfway, and then same, we use a little bit of fertilizer, just all-purpose organic fertilizer. There's 100 in the package, so I'm gonna try and put all 50 of these on this one, in this one crate. So you can see these bulbs, the pointy end up here, and then the root end on the bottom. Pretty easy to follow. Put those in, pointy end up. If you can't tell for some reason, hedge on. I always hedge on putting it sideways, but these should be pretty easy to see. Okay, and then the same thing as the lilies, just cover them over with soil. And that's it. Really, I'll add a bit more soil to this, but that's the gist of it. That's really all you need to do. Both of these crates I will keep on the floor in the greenhouse. I'll give them a good deep soak of water today, and then every other day I'll just check it and make sure that it maintains moist soil. Like most things, you want it to be damp, but not like soaking wet. You don't want it to hold on to too much water, so that it needs to be able to drain, but it needs to still be moist, just like any other seedling or something like that you would be growing. But these, like I said, these just make me so happy when I can have these beautiful pink and white blooms in May. Normally these Asiatic lily, or the oriental lilies for me, they don't bloom until the middle or even hedging towards the end of, or the later part of summer. They just don't do it until July-ish for me. The Asiatics will come on earlier. I'll usually get those in June, but the orientals don't go until quite a bit later. So this is gonna be super fun to have blooming in May in the greenhouse. It'll be so exciting. Like I said, you can do this for any number of bulbs. The gladiolas, the Acidanthera, the lilies, you can do it for tulips. You can do it for a whole bunch of different types of plants, and you can just base it on how long they take to bloom and when you can get your hands on them. A lot of flower farmers bigger than I do, they'll order hundreds at a time it's starting in like January or February, and they'll just get them routinely delivered, and they can do this process over and over and over again and just extend their lily season all the way through. I don't have enough space for that, but I do have a few hundred lilies coming in March, but those I will put out into the ground. One more thing to note, if you want to do this and you want to keep your bulbs, you absolutely can. For lilies or any of these really, you want to, well, except the tulips. I don't know about the tulips, but the lilies or the gladiolas, if you keep a third to a half of the foliage intact when you cut the stem and just let them sit there for however long, you can take the whole crates of bulbs and you can plant them out in the garden, and they will bloom again the next year with their normal time, but they'll bloom again the next year for you. Just don't cut them all the way down to the soil level and expect to get blooms the following season. Okay guys, I hope that you enjoyed this. I'll show you what it looks like when they're all done. I mean, it looks like 4 crates of dirt at the moment. All right guys, there's not a whole lot else to see on this at this moment, but I will definitely keep you updated as things start to grow. Make sure you label your crates, make sure you know what you got going where. I hope that you can give this a try. Like I said, you can use pots, you can use baskets, you can use whatever you've got that will drain and you can fill with soil and bulbs. All right guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.